The Justin Robert Young program is brought to you, as always, by patreon.com/JuRY. Oh, so many reasons to go ahead and join the team, but all I'm going to sell you on is this. It's a way to keep this program in business. You get to have the satisfaction of doing it, and you want to know what? If you like politics, you get oh so many political fun treats from the Politics show. In fact, that's what I do. Now look at that. That ding going off is the light over your head saying you need to go ahead and support patreon.com/JuRY. But enough of talking about how we support the show. What do you say we just do that damn thing?
Ugly ain't the half, look at you. Well, you got blue teeth and you only got 2 teeth, but I kinda like to see you smile. And it appears that over the years you've turned into a big old steaming pile. And she said, yeah, I know I ain't no supermodel. I said, you ain't a hand model, baby, but that's fine. By most people's standards, but you're all right by mine.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Justin Robert Young Show. My name is Justin Robert Young. Folks, it ain't just a clever name for a podcast. It's also the name my mama gave me. Oh, man, we are fully into 2018, aren't we? Huh? All that hooting and hollering over the holidays is now no longer a valid excuse. And we face the slog. Yeah, we got fat on holidays, didn't we, out here in America? Oh, shit. Loving each and every one of them. Party holiday, Halloween, hello. Family holiday, Thanksgiving, don't worry, it's just about eating. Gift-giving holiday, Christmas, and before it's all done, just a decadent orgy of 2.5 months of nothing but nothing. Nobody wants to work. Everybody's going on vacation. You're seeing people you haven't seen in a while, and you lose track of life. But then, God damn it, after New Year's Eve is in January there, like the snitch it always has been, to flip on the bar lights and say you ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here. Languishing, pushing things off, saying, no, I'll start that in the new year. Well, guess what, motherfucker? New Year's here now. 2018, here now. And I'm just tired. I think I'm over my Japan stuff now. The last time I talked to you guys, I had just gotten back literally that day. And I think I'm back. I think I'm all right. I don't think that I have too many lingering issues when it comes to the time zone change. So good to know. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. You know, everything was fine. It was fine. It was absolutely fine. And then I gotta read this motherfucking story. Ah, yes. This motherfucking story. In fact, right now, I'll bet you that there are hardcore fans of this show listening that know exactly what story I'm going to talk about because it came up over the last 7 days and multiple people sent it to me because they knew that it would fire me up. They knew that this is a story that would drive me up a wall. And God damn it, if they weren't right. So go ahead. I'm going to do a little mentalism here for you. Let's see if I can make a magic trick. Think in your head a story that you saw that you knew would drive me up a wall. Go ahead and think. Think in your head. Now go ahead and say it out loud. Say it out loud. You're driving in your car. You're sitting on your on the subway, right? You're driving to work. Just go ahead and say it out loud, okay? Because here we go. Here is the reveal. A psychologist says more people in relationships are microcheating. Here's how to know if it's happening to you. Microcheating. Now you might be asking yourself, what is microcheating? Well, that's what I was asking myself. Microcheating. Another dating trend piece. Is it cheating with the guy who did the Micro Machines commercials? No. First, you're going to slip into my DMs, and then you're going to come over to my house, and then we're going to have sex, and it's the Micro Machines. No. That's not what it is. Is it just the tip? Asked Linux Gamecast. No. This is an article on Business Insider by Shanna Leibowitz. The Daily Mail on Thursday published an article on microcheating. And depending on your perspective, it could help validate your fears that you've been having about your relationship or create new insecurities. Melanie Schilling, an Australian psychologist, well, there's your problem, told the Daily Mail that microcheating involves trivial behavior that suggests a person is emotionally or physically involved with somebody outside a relationship. Think about listing a friend under a code name in your phone. Microcheating, according to Schilling, is fundamentally about secrecy and deception. If your partner is hiding any aspect of their relationship with somebody else, say if they close Gmail the minute you walk into the room, that could be a sign that something's amiss. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make a very, very clear statement here. I want to make sure that this is unambiguous because you guys, the dear viewers and listeners to the Justin Robert Young podcast, deserve to hear this. And for those affected, it is never too late to look yourself in the mirror and understand that you can make a change. But if you believe that your partner is micro-cheating on you, you are suffocating and oppressive as a partner. I'm just letting you know, okay? If you believe, if you view, and listen, something's gone amiss in your relationship. I'm letting you know this. This is not debatable. This is a fact. This is an ironclad, as sure as the periodic tables, fact, okay? If your partner, now I feel like Jeff Foxworthy. If your partner is hiding his friendships with code words, you're an oppressive person to be in a relationship with. If your partner is closing Gmail when you walk in the room, you're an oppressive and suffocating partner. You just might be intolerable to deal with. You just might be staying together for the kids. Like, honestly, when has that ever been a healthy thing? Like, if somebody is hiding a friendship with a female under a fake name, why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Now, maybe they're cheating on you. Sure. It's always a possibility. But I'll tell you this. I have known far more people in relationships that have had to hide friendships with women because their partner is jealous than I have known people cheating on their partner. Simply put, I believe that suspicion outpopulates adultery, however we might define it. Unfaithfulness. It doesn't have to be in a marriage, right? The idea that you can't solve these kinds of problems with open dialogue and discussion is crazy. The idea that maybe you are not in as open a clearinghouse of being open to each other is that happens. Listen, that's a part of being in a relationship. Taking the temperature of your partner and seeing how you can benefit that. Jimmy 2x in the Twitch chat says, I'll be perfectly honest, I started dating a woman recently who exhibited this kind of behavior from day one. After 2 months, I gave her the boot. Now, by the way, I do not think that this is gendered. I have known just as many lunatic guys as I have known lunatic girls, and I've seen the same behavior to cover for these partners by their more level-headed other halves. I mean, I've seen consistent behavior amongst men and women, that they hide things because, God forbid, they want to have some kind of normal relationship with somebody of the opposite sex, and yet they can't. Why? Because it offends the delicate sensibilities of their partners. Microcheating. See, this is what I won't stand for, because normally these dating stories, right? These dating stories are just about, like, here's a clever name for totally sociopathic behavior. Okay. Well, whatever. We can just make fun of it. This is not sociopathic behavior. I think this is fairly common and normal behavior. 33 ways your boyfriend is microcheating is another article from Thought Catalog. Let's see this, actually. Let's see this Daily Mail article. So macro versus micro cheating. Yeah, exactly. Macro cheating is, full-on insertion. All right, here we go. This is a quote from this lady. You might be engaging in micro-cheating if you secretly connect with another person on social media, if you share private jokes, if you downplay the seriousness of your relationship to your partner, or if you enter their name under a code in your phone. All right, let's go ahead and break this down. You might be engaging in microcheating if you secretly connect with another person on social media. Really, dog? Really? Really? I mean, what is secretly connecting with somebody on social media? How secret does it need to be? Are you just creating a new account so you can be greasy? Are you just connecting with somebody in a way that your partner couldn't easily see? I find that one dubious. If you share private jokes, this apparently outside the bounds of a healthy relationship, sharing private jokes with somebody that is not in your relationship. Come on. Come on. Really? Sharing private jokes. Okay. I hope everybody who makes like some inside reference to this podcast at the next live event that we do, I hope you all know that you're cheating. You're cheating on your spouse. You're cheating on your significant other. With me, baby. If you downplay the seriousness of your relationship to your partner, to somebody else, okay, that's not micro cheating. That's actually just cheating. I mean, I guess, all right, that's the only one I'll buy. If you're like, oh, her? I mean, we're not really like married. I'll tell you, that's actually something that happens all the time out here. Full truth bomb coming to your way. All right. Out here in the Bay, there is a proliferation of what is referred to as polyamory. Something that you hear. I've heard more in the Bay than I ever heard it while I was in Florida. Not exactly a place for prudes. Is a situation where somebody says them and their wife are polyamorous, get into a relationship with somebody, only for the other person to realize maybe they weren't as polyamorous as initially asked about. So that I can understand. That to me, if you are misrepresenting your relationship to somebody, I'll buy that as microcheating. You want to know what? We'll meet in the middle here, Melanie, the lady, the Australian psychologist who believes that microcheating is a thing. Here's the last one. If you enter somebody's name and a code on your phone. Yeah, again, I would find that if you are not actually cheating on your spouse or looking to cheat, if you're not in the first half of the song for I Like Pina Coladas, a.k.a. The Escape, I would say that is just as likely to show that you are in a insufferable relationship. Because here's what I want to hear. Go ahead and email me in, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. I need emails to justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Have you ever had to hide a platonic relationship because your significant other was crazy? I want to know. I want to know how you had to hide platonic relationships. Not people that you wound up cheating on with, not people that you were secretly dating. I want platonic relationships. See if we get anything good. All right, there's other stuff. I'm starting to think that some people, all y'all are just sending me these stories just to get my goat. Just to get me all riled up. Here's another trend piece. You ready for this one? This is from ABC News. First it was juicing. Then it was souping. In 2018, it's raw water. Selling for as much as $15 a gallon. Raw water is all the rage in this basic life necessity. Like black water and boxed water before it, some people are jumping on the trend. But unlike other so-called health trends that came before it, raw water from an unknown source has many potential health hazards, says Dr. Sarang Kushik, a resident in ABC's medical unit. Quote, raw water is essentially untreated or unfiltered water containing natural minerals. The water is absent the additive fluoride. Raw water can be found in springs, rivers, or wells. Unfortunately, this water can contain dangerous pesticides, bacteria, and animal waste products. Translation, if it hasn't been tested, it may have the contaminants that make you very, very sick. Quote, raw water may contain bacteria and parasites such as E. coli, Giardia, I don't even know what that word is, man, or cholera. The health effects can range from diarrhea and dehydration to organ failure. Hey, man, I just like to get back to nature. I think that there's a lot of things out there that we've added on to society, but we really don't need it, man. I like to have raw water. And then I like organ failure. Well, now, ever since the early 60s, Project MK Ultra has been slowly trying to create a super race of spies that could be turned on at any moment. Pierce, I'm telling you, if you add fluoride into the water and you turn the frickin' frogs gay, the only solution is to get raw water, which can lead to organ failure. Listen, we can all agree that sometimes there are certain trade-offs that we make in life. We can agree that these trade-offs, these sacrifices, these symbols that define who we are, that they are basically the construction of our social fabric. We create the mosaic that is culture, that is life. However, despite the fact that we live in the healthiest, most prosperous time ever to grace this earth, it must truly be a sign that we are inherently thinking of ourselves as indestructible if we want to gain a slight advantage in life by risking something that could deliver unto us organ failure. Not maybe you'll have, maybe gain a little weight, right? Maybe you'll be a little bit more susceptible to the flu. How about this one? A failure of the biological symptoms inside of our body that make us live. Organ failure. Live Water is a company that provides raw water. We go back to the story. Sorry for that little seg. Live Water, a company that provides raw water to places like Rainbow Grocery, also delivers in a small area of Northern California. In response to questions about its bottled water, Live Water posted this statement on its website. Opal Spring, where we source our water, is from an ancient aquifer that we have extensively tested and has shown no harmful contamination whatsoever. Water is collected from a covered spring head, so there is no chance of surface bacteria to enter the water. Our bottling facility is a sterile environment in which we triple rinse and wash our glass jugs. We also test each batch for harmful bacteria, and no one has ever gotten sick drinking the water we bottled. The town of Madras, Oregon, so it is from Oregon, trust the water so much that they have been drinking unprocessed Opal Spring water from the tap for half a century. But for those outside the delivery area, so if you're not at Rainbow Grocery in the Mission, a fine place, you can also collect living water yourselves, which they sell you a jug for. Quote, imagine going to collect your water and receiving the earth's wisdom in any space you travel through. Is that Mother Gaia shutting down my liver? Oh, so grateful to receive your wisdom. Now allow me as I pee out my butt. Musical chemist in the Twitch chat. I feel the West Coast really took the wrong lessons from the Flint crisis. This is amazing. This is amazing. Who is doing this? Who and why? Who and why? That's my my general question. Who and why? In fact, that should be a new segment here. Who and why? Live water. No, live water. You're right. J.K. Grammer in the Twitch chat points out that live water is the greatest way that you can also wash down your Tide Pods. It's another thing this week. Oh, my God. What the fuck are we doing? What the fuck is going on? People are eating Tide Pods and drinking out of puddles. Now I know. This is the media putting a magnifying glass on a small subset of humanity, therefore pumping it up in some weird orgy of superiority porn wherein we look down on others so we can feel better about the decisions that we've made. And yes, we are looking at the normies are making themselves feel better, and we're shaming the freaks, however we define them. But also, Tide Pods and live water. I mean, come on. Come on. Here's something that was for real, man. I woke up on Saturday to a text message from a friend of mine who has a friend in Hawaii. And the text, the first thing I saw in the morning was an alert that there was an inbound missile to Hawaii. So for a minute, I did not know whether or not we were currently at war with either North Korea or China. That was how I started my Saturday morning. I started my Saturday morning wondering whether or not we were indeed at war with either China or North Korea, and they had decided to take out Hawaii because apparently all of our world wars are going to at some level include a bombing of Hawaii. Now, by the time that I woke up, I think that this had already been kind of worked through. But can you imagine? Can you, all of a sudden, you just get a word on your phone that just tells you, hey, by the way, you're gonna die. I hope that you lived your life the way you wanted, because incoming missile. So, if you wanted to pay your credit card, now would be a good time. Right? Listen, if there's anything you want to do, there's any gigantic confessions that you want to make to your family so your soul everlasting can be unburdened, go ahead and do that. I would love to see if Apple and iOS would let people let apps put hooks into alerts like that. Right? So you'd get one thing that was like, all right, inbound missile, you're all going to die. And then all of a sudden it would be like, reminder, delete your hard drive just in case. Just make sure that there's no digital trace of any shit that you don't want your family pouring through. It's like, have you ever wanted to just like mouth off to people? Twitter's like, hey, talk some shit. Just like a little push notification. Now's the time. Just talk that shit. Just talk whatever shit you want. Go ahead. Now, Sector 7 says a bunch of kids are being born in 9 months. I'll tell you what. I don't want to get too personal here. But now that we're all in this frame of mind, does anybody really think that completing a sexual activity would be easy when you know a missile is bearing down on you? Like, I think that's like, it's a romantic ideal we have, right? It's like, oh yeah, like everybody knows that they're gonna die, so immediately the thing you want to do is fuck, right? I don't know, that's a lot of pressure. I mean, like, let me ask you this. If you had to reach completion in sexual congress with someone that you love while you were being watched by people, watched by somebody, right? Would you be able to do it? Yes or no? Like, would you be able to complete sex with somebody you love if somebody was watching? Because now think of that exact scenario, but take away the person and make it death, like the hooded specter of death with his scythe out, as you know, the cold breath emanating from the void under the hood is tickling your balls. Like, it's like, imagine you're trying to fuck in front of your high school principal. Now take away the high school principal, make it the specter of death. I don't think you'd be able to do it. It'd be like, you'd be in the middle of it, just, slapping noises. Like halfway, you'd be like 75% of the way there. And then you'd be like, I gotta call my grandma. This is not the best time. This is not a very sexy time. You look over your shoulder, death's watching you. How much time do we have left? He just does the shrug emoji with his skeletal hands poking out of his cloak. I'm just saying, this is not not like Barry White is happening. Although maybe that would be another thing. You could have the Apple Music. You're about to die. There's a missile inbound, and then come on now, baby. We're gonna die in a missile. International war. Make you my secret whore. I mean, that's a little bit on the nose for Barry White. International war and secret whore. Although, killer rhyme. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. There we go.
When you know you're gonna die, but you still look into my eyes, we're having sex. There's a missile inbound. We're gonna go into war with Korea, but I just need to be in ya. We're going to war, and I'm making... All right.
That didn't work. I'm just saying it'd be hard. It'd be hard. It might be less than hard. It might be the opposite of hard. All right. Geez, how much time do we have? Do we have time for Aziz Ansari? I guess we do have time for Aziz Ansari. Okay. So, Aziz Ansari, for those of you who do not know, is a comedian. He's an actor. He's a writer. He wrote a popular book about modern dating. And I have always enjoyed his rise to prominence because I saw him when I was younger in New York City. He was doing a one-man show called Aziz Ansari Punched a Wall, and I have always it's always cool to see people that you saw at an earlier stage, blow up. So in light of this Me Too and Time's Up stuff, the website babe.com had a explosive story detailing a story of a photographer who was seemed to be flirting with Aziz Ansari. They bonded over the fact that they were both using the same old camera. They made plans to go get dinner. They did get dinner. According to her, this is where things went sideways. She said that they rushed a little bit through dinner, more so than she would have liked. That they went back to his place, that they engaged in some consensual sexual activity, but at the point that he wanted to take it to another level, specifically penetrative sex, she was uncomfortable with how fast he was going. She says she gave him verbal and non-verbal cues, one of which was, hey, let's slow down a little bit. So they did. And they started watching Seinfeld. Then he tried to restart the sexy time. She was uncomfortable with it. She said, all you guys are the same, and peaced out. So here's what I don't want to do going forward. I don't want to go thundering in, full meathead. Because I'm doing my best throughout all of these situations to have an open mind. And to do something that I don't think that men have been particularly good at. And listen first. Before thundering back with, something that I know other men will probably rally around. So what I don't want to do is just say, well, that just sounds like a date gone bad. Who cares? Is everything sexual assault now? Because the other part of this is I don't really know, nobody does, exactly what went down. Aziz Ansari has responded to these claims, said that he did not believe that there was, he thought all the sex was consensual. And that was that. Now, they did text with each other the next day. And he said he had a good time. And she lit into him and said, hey, this might have seemed like a good time to you, but I was very uncomfortable and you blew through many verbal and non-verbal stop signs. So, what I have found most interesting about this story is not the conflict itself. What I have found most interesting is the reaction. Because this one has been fought over a couple times. So Babe.com, which is, I think, a fairly new outlet, or at least one that I hadn't heard of before this, they run the original story. Then immediately, there's a wave of counter-reaction. I believe The Atlantic had a piece saying that this was just as hand-wavy as I was hoping not to be. That finally the white women have come to target minority men. Then there was another New York Times opinion piece that said, hey, Aziz Ansari is guilty of not being a mind reader. That he should have read her mind, in sarcastic tone. And then today, today was the piece de resistance. Because the old head in this genre, the OG of Me Too, the outlet that had Louis C.K. before there was Louis C.K., Jezebel had a story today that was basically like, what the hell are you doing, babe? It's literally the headline. Babe, what are you doing? And in it, it said, look, Aziz is not necessarily at fault. The girl for whom you came and got this story from is not at fault. You're at fault. You, as a publishing house, are at fault for running this story because you made so many journalistic errors that now this conversation is totally off the rails, and we could have had a conversation about how sex has basically been built up as the gratification of the male, but now we can't. Because you, Babe.com, sorry, Babe.net. Babe.net published it, not Babe.com. God knows what's on Babe.com. But this is the initial story. I went on a date I went on a date with Aziz Ansari, and it was the worst night of my life. Oh, apparently there's pictures at dinner. Oh, look at that. Lobster rolls and salad. So, man, I don't know. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I really don't know how to handle a lot of these things anymore. Because in part, one of the pieces of feedback that I've gotten is, you know, what perspective am I providing that is not already well represented? AKA, does this topic really need another white guy's opinion? Or, if I'm ignoring it, am I not allowing the movement to flourish by providing whatever level of signal boost that I could? Or am I just allowing the loudest voices to be the loudest, and any kind of further analysis doesn't happen because I'm afraid? So I guess this is me saying I don't know what to say. I can focus on things like the journalistic angle on it for stuff like this, but in general, I mean, you know, we had this conversation on Unfriend Me, which if you're listening to this, I very much recommend you listening to that. Unfriend Me show is a show I do with Scott Johnson, and we talked about separating the art from the artist today. That was today's episode. And in it, I said that we are in a very, very interesting perspective right now, because right now we are literally rewriting the rules of decorum. We're rewriting the rules of society. The internet has connected us to a point where now we are in real time sharing pain, understanding who the bad guys are, and trying to prevent the actions from happening again. And beyond that, man, I don't know. Aside from saying that I feel for women that have been, you know, gotten the short end of the stick their entire lives. And by that, I mean throughout most modern history. And man, I'll tell you what. I've definitely had sexual encounters where, you know, I thought innocently tried to push the envelope. I never went further when no was said, right? But I didn't run out of the room. You know? And maybe that's better. Maybe better. If you say no, you know, then there should be an air raid siren that goes off in a guy's head that's like, okay, cool, clear the room. Or maybe that's too cold, right? Because that would essentially boil down to a guy being like, yo, can I fuck? No. Peace. Dives out of the window. Pulls parachute. I guess that's my point. I'm not complaining because it's confusing. It should be confusing. We're redrawing new rules. Maybe this is part of it. We just need to talk about it. Man, this episode was really funny right up until that point. Right? We were doing really well. How about we get into some emails? JustinRobertYoung@gmail.com. Again, JustinRobertYoung@gmail.com. Just go ahead and put JuRY in the subject line. I do want to hear from everything. I want to hear from all this. I want to hear about the new rules, the new sexual rules. I want to hear about whether or not you've microcheated. I want to hear all that. Swipe left to jump out the window. All right. Steve writes, as soon as you mentioned it on the show, I was instantly fascinated about Japanese lung cancer statistics. It makes no sense, and it's a fascinating quirk. I love to hear a well-thought-out theory as to why it occurs. So this was about the fact that there are just as many smokers, if not more, in Japan, and yet they happen to get lung cancer at a lesser rate. Andrew, the keen archaeologist, writes, I can buy the idea that compared to Americans, Japanese may be statistically less likely to contract cancer, and this may in fact be over time be casually linked to smoking in Japan at the population scale. But no one has actually shown this in a way that convinces me. For the individual, smoking cannot reduce your risk of cancer, which is a claim I've seen smokers, typically wearing tinfoil hats, try to make in reference to Japan. And even in Japan, smokers are still more likely to get cancer They're just more likely to get cancer than the American smoker. They are still increasing their likelihood of getting cancer versus their peers. I also wonder what the rate of respiratory disease other than cancer is in Japan, how much overall smoking-related illnesses there are, and how much respiratory dysfunction is just culturally ignored. All of these could warp the statistical analysis. This was all very, very, very good good topics. I liked all this. Thank you very much, Andrew, for writing in. And yeah, if it sounded like I came off saying that Japanese people get cancer less because they smoke more, that's not what I was saying. They get cancer, as Andrew put it, they get cancer. They're more likely to get cancer. So there's that. And finally, Will writes, last show you were talking about feeling old at a karaoke bar in Japan, which reminded me of something similar that happened to me. I do a fair bit of college recruiting for my firm, which includes relationship building with students who aren't actually trying to get full-time offers just yet. I was at an event for some of these types of students and sat next to a nice woman through dinner. Somehow, our table got to talking about Y2K, and she said she wasn't super familiar with the finer details of what it was. Then she mentioned that she wasn't even alive when it happened. People who were born in the year 2000 are already job hunting out of college. I'm sure I'm still a whippersnapper to many, but even at 24, I felt older than dirt. That's some old feeling shit.
What do you say we both just leave?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a reminder, you can go ahead and email me, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com.
I don't understand it.
A reminder, the politics show for people who hate politics is Politics, Politics, Politics. Find it. I do it. It's good. You can support this show on twitch.tv. If you have Amazon Prime, you can give me a subscription for free. If you don't use the money, you lose it. Nothing comes out of your Prime subscription. You literally just get $5 you can throw in my face. Head on over to twitch.tv/JustinRYoung to take advantage of it. And, of course, you can join our Discord, bit.ly/JuRY Discord, if you want to continue this conversation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up for this edition of the program. My name is Justin Robert Young. A reminder that I love you. And whenever you feel low, remember, your old pal Jerbs is in your ear telling you to please don't.
Back at me.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.